Hi, I'm Patrick Shaughnessy. I'm going to be doing some programming today. What I am going to be doing is making a platformer with a type of melee attack. This is probably not going to all get done to a playable game state within the scope of this one video recording, but I'm going to take where I left off last video and do the best I can. So if we go into the code from last video, there was that one bug that I didn't find later until I was editing the video. I'll fix that very first thing. So I had the last frame time equals now unconditionally. That should actually be only if times looped actually reached 5, as I explained in the little outtake bit of last video. Okay. Now, this is going to be a platformer. So it would be nice to have platforms to actually make the platformer work. So right now we have this our demo sprite that's holding our leftover sprite from the last thing I did. No need to delete that yet. But let's add some platforms. And just as the demo sprite last time had that width height thing, we could do that for the platforms. But we want the platforms to be patterned in some way. And let's make the platform shape in our JavaScript code. Instead of having to type the coordinates of the platform, let's encode it in a convenient way. This is going to be a single screen platform, at least for now, so I'm just going to have one platform shape. Alright. I haven't actually used backquote strings before because I learned my JavaScript, like a lot of people, just reading whatever tutorials, and the existence of these backquote strings is relatively new, but I think all the browsers I target will actually support them. I'm actually going to double check that. So anyway, I was going to use the strings to make this kind of ASCII art version of like what my map might look like, and then I'll load that to get the platform data, was the idea. And whether that works or not, I'll have to check. So let's, very first thing is just see if this feature of JavaScript that I've read about is actually present. If it's not, then I'll just load those data in some other way. Alright. So I want to be in, right, there we go, C: users, etc. So 03, 02, game.html, alright. And if I ask for a platform shape, good. Oh, time loop, I mistyped the string times loop there. So now we're, okay. So, platform shape, good. I have a string which has a bunch of spaces and new lines in it. Alright. So I can, at least in Firefox, do that. Let's make sure I can do it in Chrome too. JavaScript is a family of dialects, not a single monolithic language, so you do want to test things in more than one browser. The reason I'm doing this is because otherwise you can't have your new lines in your code in a string be actual new lines. You need to use a /n, and it's annoying looking. It's a minor cosmetic thing, really, but I just figure I might as well do it in a way that I can feel comfortable doing it. Where did my console go? Oh, alright, the Firefox console and the Chrome console shape different. Platform shape. Okay, good. So that is a string. It exists in both systems. Alright. So, I've already kind of arbitrarily picked 640 by 480 for the size of my game canvas. So that means if my tiles are going to be, let's see, this was a 64 sprite here. That's pretty big, so let's say our tiles are 32. So this guy would be 2 by 2 tiles big. So my platforms are going to be built around 32 by 32 tiles, 32 by 32 pixel tiles that is, which would mean at 640 by 480 there's 20 by 15 of them on the screen. That sounds reasonable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright. So our world is going to be made out of some platforms. I want the player to fall to their death at times or something like that. I don't want the bottom platform to be flush to the bottom of the screen. Also, they give me a status area at the bottom I could use. Let's just pick some simple platform shape. This is going to be a brawler kind of dealy where the platforms aren't an acrobatic thing so much as just how you dodge in combat. At least that's what I'm imagining right now. It might change as I actually start coding it. Alright. That's good enough. So, my platforms are going to use that to get built. So let's say my platforms for now is an array for var c. So I want to parse this string and turn it into the actual platform data. And there are a lot of other ways you can do this process. There's third-party programs. You can do tile editing graphically and then export to JSON, load that into JavaScript. There's all kinds of ways to make a tile map. This is just, for a simple single-screen platformer, one way to do it. And I do like doing things in a kind of by-hand way and not relying on a third-party tool when I can help it. That's an idiosyncrasy of the way I program. Alright, so platforms. Okay, I know what to do. Var x equals 0, y equals 0. So I'm going to go through this with a kind of cursor and move the cursor. And yeah, so var, okay, so for var I in, what did I call this? Platform shape. Sure, why not? So for var I in platform shape, alright, so var I is actually going to be a number giving the index into the string. What I really want is the character, var c equals platform shape I. Alright, that's a difference between JavaScript and Python, by the way. In Python, I would already be the character and not the index. So, switch on C. Alright, if we have a new line, then that means we're going to our next row. And these are 32 big, so let's do that. And we're going to the beginning of the next row. Alright, case dot, that means we don't have a platform, but we are doing that. Alright. Case, that's when we actually make a platform. So let's say platforms.push. And this is going to be shaped a lot like the demo sprite where we have all these. Well, we don't need a velocity. They're not moving, so we can not worry about velocity. But we're going to have a width, height, left, top, and text top, text left. So I'm pushing this object when I see a pound sign. And any other character, I don't really care, because those white spaces, I just want to trim them. Because this tab is meaningless as far as how I'm using the string is concerned. I don't care about that tab. Also, this might count as a new line at the start here. I'm actually not sure whether it does or not. Some of this code defensively because I don't know the language well. So if we see a new line and x was already 0, then we ignore the new line. So we only do a new line in that case. So this should go through and make a list of platforms. Let's find out. Alright. Obviously not getting drawn yet, but if we look at them, platforms is an array. And if we look at the array, we have, 29 objects. I'm sure if I counted these, that would be 29. Yeah, I can already see them 20 wide. Oh, 30, because indexes start at 0. So 0 to 29. Yep, they have different lefts, different tops. I think wait. Why do all these have left of 0? Left of 0. Oh! Because when I saw a dot, I moved the cursor, but I also need to move the cursor when I see a pound sign. Alright, so this is a simple parser that takes that little ASCII art, figures out the appropriate x and y coordinates, spits out an array of platform objects. And we need to actually do something about this here. To get them drawn, let's go back into GIMP and get the texture for the platform, which for now is just going to be a crude placeholder. Let's make sure I'm filling the top of the platform as we stand, and just some random smearing of pixels, and some other random smearing of pixels. Okay. Of course, this is just one color of platform. There could be different characters representing different colors of platform, which should be different types of platform gameplay logic-wise, which we might get to. But for now, I'm going to keep it simple. Alright, so I'm replacing my old thing. Alright. Yeah. So now in my draw loop, where I was just drawing the one image for var I in platforms. Oh, the order of drawing matters. Platforms usually be in the back, so other things go in front of them. And I'll just take this piece of code. Okay, let's say var platform equals platforms I, because again, I is just the index of the for loop, and you need to get the actual object. replace string demo sprite with, oh, that was a little lower than you can see it. Okay, I'm replacing the string demo sprite with platform. So because I use these same text left, text top variables for my different objects, I can just copy and paste this. And eventually, of course, I could wrap this into a function. Once I have a few of it, I probably will do that. So I'm drawing for each platform using these coordinates, where these coordinates were computed by parsing the thingy to see the x's and y's, reading the string. Just reading the string as a string. It's not like I'm looking into the JavaScript file and seeing columns. But because of this nice backquote string, I can effectively ASCII out my thing. Alright, now if I load, I see something weird happened. Oh, my text lefts are actually the wrong number. Right, text left is now 128. Alright, let's try that. And obviously something else has gone wrong. I'm drawing the first platform each in my rows, and then not advancing. Oh, x plus equals 32, not just x plus 32. X plus 32 is a statement that adds 32 to x and does nothing with it. Alright, so there. That certainly looks like crap, but it looks like crap that is shaped like a platformer. And if this sprite here were jumping instead of floating, and it had some physics, then we could imagine it may be working, possibly. So that's the next thing to do here. I've gotten some tiles mapped out here. I'm not going to deal with scrolling. As I said, this is just a single screen game. So we need to do something on this platform. And yeah, walking and jumping was the next thing on my agenda. Alright, let's get rid of that demo sprite now. We now have a player. Alright, I'm just going to call it player for now. And the player is going to have some starting coordinates, which you can decide later. Some texture stuff. But the player isn't going to be 64 wide, I think. Let's just make the player 32 wide. And, of course, the advanced game frame logic is going to be completely different now that the player is walking instead of flying. And we're going to draw. Replace string, demo, sprite, player. Alright. Yep, and of course I had an error because I replaced, yeah, demo sprite is undefined in some places because I removed it. Right, so right, I try to advance the game frame and I don't. And that means need redraw is never getting set because it got set here, so it's never drawing. Alright, which is completely reasonable. But just for the sake of it, let's just move the need redraw. So yeah, the player, or would-be player, is getting drawn. The advanced game frame loop is breaking, but the draw frame loop is a separate loop that happens anyway. So I'm drawing, and the player is getting drawn at the new width of 32 using the same texture coordinates it already had, which aren't, of course, texture coordinates for something that's that shape. Let's give the player some arbitrary shape. Now, messed up watermelon man needs to move. So, I had some momentum code before for the XV and YV for floatiness, and I can pretty much use that again for walking, but with some major differences. Left plus equals YV. Okay, do we still want to do the wrap around the edges? That's kind of fun. Yeah, let's actually, for now at least, keep the wrap around the edges. I may make them walls later. And you have your cap on your velocity. That's good. We're not doing that thing with the glowy eyes near the bottom. We are going to change this, though. Key W and key S no longer do the same things. Let's say key W is your jump key, and key S is going to be to duck down through your current platform. Maybe I'll have a duck animation later, but for now it's just to drop through a platform. Alright. So, now, how do we deal with landing on a platform? There are a lot of ways of dealing with landing on a platform, mind you. I'm just going to think of one of several ways of doing these physics. So I'm thinking if you start not inside a platform, and the downstroke of your move puts you inside a platform, then that means you've been landing on the platform. So, let's do the horizontal move and the vertical move separately. Let's see. So, var new bottom equals demo sprite dot top plus, oh, this is demo sprite, this is player, right? Replace string demo sprite to player, say top player dot height, and var old bottom equals. Alright, so I have these two things. Now, since I only have so many platforms, I can just do a for loop on all of them. If you had a scrolling map, you'd probably want to actually, instead of just an array, have these things in a data structure where you look them up by the coordinates. You don't have to look at all of them to find any one of them. But there's so few, I'm not going to worry about that for now. In platforms, var platform, if platform.y is, so if you were on top of the platform before, so if platform.y is greater than or equal to old bottom, and platform.y less than new bottom, then that must mean we've been hitting that platform moving downward from the bottom, because new bottom must have increased. Okay. So if that happens, then we know we're on the platform. So we want to know if we're on the platform later for jumping purposes, so I'm just going to say on platform equals false. But if that happens, on platform equals true, player.yb equals 0, you stop your vertical descent because you hit the platform, and player.top equals platform.top minus player.height. Oh, and that should be platform.top. So just that change alone should result in the platforms acting like a thing I can rest on. Something's gone wrong, of course. Oh, right, okay, I see the problem. I'm resting on that platform no matter where I am because I never bothered checking the left and right coordinates. So yeah, we only care about a platform if the player's lined up with it horizontally. So if platform.left less than player.left plus player.width, and player.left less than platform.left plus platform.width. And these other things are also true. So now we're checking on the x-axis and the y-axis for overlap, which should behave much nicer. Yeah, I land on the platform, I move, I can fly up, I can land on the platform. If I fall and then intersect the platform horizontally, I don't land on it because I'm only testing against the top of the platform. That's my intent. These are jump-through style platforms. And you can jump up. Well, not jump up, you still don't have the jump physics. Let's just immediately change the jump physics here. So we can only jump when we are standing on the platform. That's why I want to check whether we're on the platform and remember it for later in the code. So if we press W while we are on a platform, then player YB becomes some other number. Let's say equals -2. I don't know. Let's just see what -2 looks like. That's not a very big jump. -8. Ooh. And that's an extremely big jump. Let's try -4. Ooh. Okay, this feels a little floaty. Let's make gravity more powerful. So that there, every frame I'm adding to the y velocity to begin with, that is my force of gravity there. Alright, alright, alright. Still feels a little too floaty. Let's strengthen gravity a bit more. Boop. Alright, that feels like strong gravity, but now my jump isn't high enough, so let's increase the jump velocity. One could work these things out to some degree using a bunch of calculus, or, well, not technically calculus because it's discrete steps, but working out the recurrence relations between where you are in one frame and the next. But it's easier to just do it by hand, since ultimately a lot of these decisions are aesthetic in nature. And I have an error on line 117 regarding the letter A. Okay, yeah. There was just a letter A there because Emacs is very keyboard controlled. As soon as I start typing a keyboard command, I type the wrong thing. Okay. Alright. So let's see. I can... Ooh, I fell off the bottom. Alright. So I can jump there. Alright, there's other questions about my floatiness, of course. But... Okay. Yeah. These controls feel awful, by the way. These are not good controls at all. Oh! I remember now. Right, I'm not pressing anything on the keyboard right now. There's no deceleration happening, and that's pretty bad when you're dealing with a platformer. There should really be deceleration. Let's do this. var xxl. So if xxl, I'm going to start at 0. If I'm holding A, then my acceleration goes down 1/8. If I'm holding D, my acceleration goes up 1/8. The idea here is that if I'm holding A and D simultaneously, that should be the same as if I'm holding neither. Now, if xxl equals 0 and player.xv isn't 0, then I want to do something. So if I'm not pressing a move key, or if I'm pressing move keys simultaneously, which should be the same, and my player is in motion, I want to apply some brake. So that should be xxl equals player.xv greater than 0, then minus 1/8 colon plus 1/8. So if I'm not pressing a key, it's like I'm pressing the key opposite the direction I'm currently moving. And that should have the desired effect. Because these numbers are exact power 2 numbers, I can trust the floating points to come out exactly. I don't have to worry about having weird fractions left over that don't round properly. Alright, now I'm not moving at all. Beautiful. That's because I forgot to actually adjust the XV in light of the Excel. XV plus equals player dot... there. So I'm computing acceleration for the frame, applying it to XV, then applying XV to my position. Yep. These controls are a lot better. I can now stop moving. However, another issue comes up where my ear control is equally good as my ground control, and also my ground control is actually really sloppy. So, let's fix those. Alright, let's do the code for the Y move first, so I'll know whether I'm on a platform. Also, in the event that I'm jumping, I'm no longer on a platform. Alright, and now, this function is now applying the y acceleration factors first, including gravity. At the end of it, we know, am I on a platform going into my x acceleration? Now, var accel amount equals, let's say on platform colon 1/4, otherwise 1/8, and then change all these 1/8 to accel amount. So now I'm deciding how strongly I accelerate from the A and D keys based on whether I am standing on a platform. And I know whether I'm standing on a platform because I already did the step where I move the player vertically and do the test against the platform based on that move. Alright. So now I can run pretty fast, and my ear control is pretty weak. I'm seeing that braking is actually... Braking in ear feels about right, but braking on the ground feels weak. So I'm going to go ahead and... actually, the player's max speed is too big, too. So let's just drop the max speed of the player. Yeah. Just little physicsy tweaks. This is just code that does things. Don't make the mistake of thinking like XXL or XV are like magic JavaScript strings. They're just variables I'm using. This is the physics here. This isn't code to hook into some other physics engine. So I'm just capping the XV differently. What I'm going to do is make it so you can brake harder than you can excel. Alright, how about this? If player.xv less than 0 and xxl greater than 0. So if my excel is the opposite direction, Then I accelerate again. And likewise, if my player is... Okay. So, that should... Yeah, now I brake really fast. I brake really fast. I have kind of weak ear control. My acceleration's decent. Yeah. Alright. This feels like I could definitely do some platformy fighting in here. If I had a melee attack, I could move around, jump over enemies, try to hit them. Feels like maybe trying to hit enemies from behind would be fun. I might give them shields. A lot of possible steps I could take. I have a sentence from a patron that I'm going to use the concept. I haven't revealed the sentence yet, and I think this is working out pretty well so far towards something that could express that sentence. Now, yeah. The edges, the wraparound code has no idea what the platforms are. Like this, there's no platform in the one player wide gap between the edges. So if I hit it at just the wrong distance, I'm going to fall in. In general, if you are dealing with tile platforms and the player is exactly one tile wide, you're going to have weird cases when the player is exactly aligned to a one tile gap boundary. What I do is either I make the player a little smaller or I don't have one tile gap boundaries. If I absolutely have to have both those things though, you can't break your move up. I'm doing all the Y move, then all the X move. What I could do is, when the player is crossing a grid line, do the move up to the grid line and go back and forth between the X and Y steps, which is a lot more complicated and harder to explain. So, let's just go through this, make sure I've explained everything. Okay. Every frame, increase the player's Y velocity by 1/4 to represent gravity. Set this on platform variable tracking to false. We don't yet know if the player's on a platform. We're assuming they're not. The player's current bottom position is stored. Then we apply the player's current Y velocity, get the player's new bottom position. Now for every platform, we check that platform's coordinates against the player using its full width, but just using its top edge without using its vertical width, its height. And we see if the platform is between the old bottom and new bottom and lined up horizontally, in which case the player was moving down into it. Because we added to gravity first, we added gravity to YV first, this YV will be positive at the time we get here if the player is just standing still. So this will go off when the player is standing on the platform. Because the gravity tried to move the player down, we see their new bottom is now going through the platform. So, if we see them moving through the platform, either because they were standing on it or falling onto it, then remember we are seeing the platform, on platform is true, we zero the velocity, and we reposition them to be on top of the platform. Now, that on-platform value we use to determine our accel amount, which is one of two values. And if the player is holding W on the platform, then that's a jump. We set the Y velocity to a large negative number, your upward jump height. And that's just some random characters I don't need. That did nothing. If the player is holding S, this is leftover code. We haven't actually done the fall through properly yet. We can do the fall through though. In fact, let's do the fall through. Instead of saying player YV plus equals something, let's do player dot Y plus equals 1. So if you press S on a platform, you'll just move 1 pixel down, except you won't because I screwed something up. Oh, because it's not called Y, it's called top. Alright. So if keys held, key S, and on platform. Oh, now I remember why I did this. That leftover line actually should have been on platform equals false. Right. When you jump, you're no longer on the platform. Okay, so now I can press S to do a drop-down action, which just teleports me down 1 pixel, so the next frame around I see I'm not on the platform anymore. Also, I'm currently not on the platform. Right. Alright, now my X accel is determined by A and D and accel amount, and then if my X accel is still 0 after that, but I'm in motion horizontally, then I apply a brake opposite my direction. Update my X velocity by that X accel for the frame that I computed, And then if my x accelerates the opposite direction from the way I'm moving, add x velocity to it again so that I get a nice, what do you call it? Braking action. My braking is twice as fast as my forward movement. Right. Alright. Then we update player left by xv. Then we have this wraparound code which I'm going to change. Let's change the wraparound code. So player left is less than 0, player.left equals 0, player.xv equals 0. Player.left greater than canvas width minus player.width. Player.left equals canvas.width minus player.width. Player.xv equals 0. So now if I'm trying to move past the edge, my position gets clamped and my x velocity gets zeroed. And then the x velocity clamps so I can't run ridiculously fast. And I reload that, I get an error. Line 150, missing parenthesis. Yep, just straight up missing parenthesis. Reload. Yep, so now I can't move past the edges. I can go to that platform, that platform, that platform. Great. Alright, I don't know yet whether this is the actual platform arrangement I'm going to use for the game, but until I have enemies spawning, there's no point trying to figure that out. It's all a matter of just aesthetically tweaking the pieces to see how they fit together. But this is platforming now. I can jump up, I can drop down. I have separate air control, ground control, braking, all WASD keys. I might change just the jump to a different key. That's easy to do if I want. Key binding is a thing you want to do in a larger game to be more friendly to players with different keyboard handling styles or different types of keyboard. But for a small game, it's not necessarily worth the effort to put in key binding unless someone actually asks you to do it. Alright. Yeah, and of course, there's no recovery from there. Actually, let's do something a little clever here. I don't like being able to drop through the bottom of the world. So let's make a separate type of platform. That's the platform you can't drop through at the bottom of the world. So case £sign is that. Case ampersand is going to be a slightly different thing. Let's make that 160. 128 plus 32 is 160. So now if I reload, oh, and break. Yeah. JavaScript has fall through switch statements. If you don't put a break at the end of one, you'll get the next clause also executed. So there, because I didn't have this break, I was adding this platform and then this platform. And because I was drawing them in order, the blue one always ended up getting drawn last and thus being the visible one. Alright, so I have two styles of platform, and I'm going to add this. Drop through true on that style. Drop through false. And then var on platform and then var drop through equals false. And here on platform drop through equals platform dot drop through. So I'm checking not only am I on a platform, but also is it a platform that supports the drop through command. And then if it is, I allow the S key to work. So I can drop through this platform, but not through this platform. Boop, drop, jump, jump, drop, jump, 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 drop. Great. So that's working out nicely. Now I can't kill myself by dropping through the only platform that's keeping me on the screen. Obviously, that's a matter of whether I want the player to be able to do that. There are games that will let you do that. But I figure it might as well be friendly, and that shows you an example of making more than one different kind of platform, which is something I should have shown anyway. Alright. So far, so good. I think this is enough video recording for now. We've taken that previous thing, added some background tiles, added jump style physics with different moves in the X and Y axis. I've shown you this little trick for throwing together a quick tile map using ASCII art. So yeah, this is my stopping point for this video. There will of course be more videos, The next item on my agenda is going to be to add some enemies that you could jump around and first dodge, and then after that's working, attack. And I look forward to recording that video for you pretty soon. I have to stop this one, I have to edit this one. I'm hoping editing will go easier than last time, since I was smarter about where I placed my windows instead of smearing them all over the screen all the time. So goodbye for now.